There's still 3 minutes, but I'm done. I'm just waiting for you guys. And time. You finished? You finished? Just a quick salutation. Best wishes, so-and-so. Okay. So can we do a poll? Marion won't stop. You're going to have to stop soon for the part that you're going to hate me for. So, can we do a poll though? How many of you wrote at least like 3 words that you liked? Come on. Okay, maybe half. Maybe half wrote about 3 words that they liked. How many of you feel like you have something that you'd like to work with again? Maybe like 6 people, 10 people. Okay. I don't know. I'm going to ask you, some of you, to volunteer who your letters were to and from. But in the interest of fairness, I will tell you that my letter. I started out trying to write a letter from. It's to a person. I started out trying to write a letter to Henry, my son, who is like 16 days old. No, from Henry. Sorry, I forgot my own writing assignment. Anyway, I started out trying to write a letter that was from Henry to his future life partner, but it was really earnest and bad. And I quit, and I decided to write a letter that is to mayonnaise from ketchup and mustard, in which they sort of gently say that it might be time for mayonnaise to go into that great good night on account of it sort of decreasing utility of fat distribution in contemporary human diets. And ketchup and mustard, which are both fat-free, are sort of saying, you need to make way for us. I'll read you one sentence. It's not a very good letter. No one puts us on chicken, for instance. Have you noticed that? They'll put you on chicken just to grease the proverbial wheels, but not us. Why? We would like to be on chicken. We believe that we have a role to play in the chicken sandwich community. That's a bit of my letter. Not as earnest. What did you guys write to and from? Raise your hands since you don't scream it out all at once. And the hand shall rise as one. No embarrassment. This is safe space. Yes?
I wrote from some random little kid to the Idea Fairy asking for an idea.
That's good. Yeah.
I wrote from the keyboard to the compy.
From the keyboard to the compy? On of strong bad emails fame?
Yes.
Wow, okay, that's an internet thing. If you don't know what it is, it's much funnier than my video blog. Yes?
I wrote to this guy, who I don't know, from a friend of mine in Alabama.
What? We're in Alabama, just out of curiosity.
Tuscaloosa.
Huh?
Tuscaloosa?
Oh, okay.
Canada.
I'm from Birmingham. That's great. I think you should show it to him.
You don't have to.
Okay. Anybody else? Yes?
From the jelly to the toast.
From the jelly to the toast. You had a similar idea, food-based. Barb?
I actually started writing a letter from my mother to a man who had made jewelry for me when I was a little child.
Oh, wow, that's cool. That's cool. I like that. Yes?
I wrote to a crazy old woman from a random teenager who hung out with her.
That sounds cool. That's kind of like, there's a couple of children's books like that I really like, including The Pig Man. Have you ever read that? It's a good book. And it had the author's real phone number in it, which I did in Looking for Alaska. In my first novel, I put my real phone number in it because I thought that would be a nice thing to do. But it turns out that it's not that nice. And that it is not that fun to be called by strangers at all. Is this John Green? Yes. Hang up. Other letters. Yes, Nerdfighter like t-shirt.
I wrote from a farmer to his cow because the cow was mad and wouldn't give him milk, and his wife was sick and he needed milk from the cow.
To feed the wife.
Yeah.
Did it? Well, we don't know the results.
No, we don't know them.
So the true epistolary novel would then feature a response from the cow,
Yes.
in which it was like, well, if you fed me better, maybe I would give you milk.
Yeah, I'm going on strike, basically.
Right. I like that. Others? Any others? Yes.
From the angry mouse to the cat.
From the angry mouse?
To the cat.
Stop trying to attack me?
I was stop talking about the master's attention.
That's great. I love these. And it is because I love these that you're about to hate me so much. Okay, so there was this guy, Thomas Carlyle. Have any of you ever heard of him? Maybe not. But anyway, he was a writer. He wrote a hugely influential history of the French Revolution called A History of the French Revolution. And this book was read by Charles Dickens. Charles Dickens said that he read it 500 times while he was writing A Tale of Two Cities. I bet that is a lie, because writers are a bunch of liars. Anyway, I bet he did read it at least once. And it was deeply influential in A Tale of Two Cities. It was also Mark Twain's favorite book, this 3-volume history of the French Revolution. Thomas Carlyle, that's the author of the French Revolution, that's all you need to know about him. He had kind of a cruddy life otherwise. Was friends with John Stuart Mill, who, if you haven't had to read him yet, you will in college, who wrote On Liberty and a bunch of other books, and was basically one of the only people in the 19th century who was always right about every single thing he ever thought about. He never had an incorrect thought in his whole life, which must have been fun. He did, however, that doesn't mean that he was a great person. He did have this mistress who he was really, really into, and she factors into the story in a second. Okay. John Stuart Mill is married, he has this mistress, who's also married, and he has a maid, okay? And he's very good friends with Thomas Carlyle, and he helped Thomas Carlyle get the book deal for the French Revolution book. So when Thomas Carlyle finishes the one and only manuscript of the French Revolution, he sends it to John Stuart Mill, and he says, will you read this and tell me what you think of it? And John Stuart Mill says, absolutely, and then he does what anyone does when you're given someone else's story, which is he puts it by his bedside table and forgets about it for a week. Then he goes to get the manuscript, and it's not there, and so he goes to his mistress, and he says, do you know where that manuscript is that was on my bedside table by Thomas Carlyle about the stupid French Revolution that I have to read because he's my friend? And the mistress is like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. He goes to his wife. She says, I don't know what you're talking about. He goes to the maid, and she says, I don't know what you're talking about. Then he goes to the fire, where he finds the only manuscript of Thomas Carlyle's The French Revolution. Well, he finds 2 pages of it charred to a crisp, because the other 500 pages have fully burned. No one knows for sure if it was the wife, the mistress, or the maid who did this. And in fact, some people think it might have been John Stuart Mill, that he read this, felt that it was too brilliant, and so brilliant that no one should be able to read it because it would only make them like Thomas Carlyle more than they liked him, and then he threw it in the fire. No one knows how it happened, but it was the only copy of this book that he had spent forever writing. So do you know what Thomas Carlyle proceeded to do? His friend. Well, it did kind of ruin their friendship. Carlyle was really nice about it at first, but then, you brew on something for a while. And it did kind of, and they had some political disagreements. He wrote the second and third volumes of the French Revolution and didn't publish them. But he couldn't bring himself to go back to this first volume of the French Revolution because he'd already freaking written it, and it was perfect. And as you will soon find out, writing that you are somehow separated from only becomes more perfect as a result from your being separated from it.